She had everything: money, power, and a reputation for being untouchable. But when her billion-dollar empire stood on the brink of collapse, the one man she'd always ignored, the quiet driver in her rearview mirror, became the only person who could save her. Amelia Vance was the kind of CEO everyone in the city either feared or envied. She had built Vance Technologies from the ground up, inherited nothing, and learned early that kindness was a weakness. Her words were sharp, her gaze colder than the glass towers she owned. Every morning, her black Mercedes pulled up in front of her penthouse at exactly 7:30, and waiting by the door was her driver, Ethan Cole. He was always punctual, always polite, and always invisible. Ethan had been her driver for 3 years, and in those 3 years, Amelia never once asked about his life. To her, he was just another employee, an extension of the car. She didn't notice the small details: the way he glanced at her in the mirror when she looked tired, the way he subtly adjusted routes to avoid traffic so she never arrived late, or the quiet respect he showed her, even when she was short-tempered after boardroom wars. But that morning, something in Ethan's eyes caught her off guard. As he held the car door open, there was a flicker of something, concern, maybe, but Amelia brushed it off. "To the office." "And don't talk," she said curtly, sliding into the back seat, her eyes glued to her tablet. Ethan simply nodded and started the engine. That day was crucial. Vance Technologies was about to close a $1 billion merger with Hawthorne Systems, a deal that would secure their dominance in the global AI market. Investors were watching. Rivals were circling. And Amelia's biggest fear, failure, was closer than she'd ever admit. But even before the meeting began, things went wrong. A confidential report was leaked to the media, revealing flaws in her company's AI prototype. Stocks plummeted within hours. The board was panicking. Hawthorne threatened to pull out. And in the chaos, Amelia's world, built on precision and control, began to crumble. That evening, as the car rolled silently through the rain-soaked streets, Amelia sat in the back, her jaw tight. She rarely showed emotion, but her reflection in the window looked lost. Ethan glanced through the mirror, hesitated, then finally spoke. "Rough day, ma'am?" She looked up sharply. "You're not paid to ask questions." "I know," he said quietly. "But sometimes, it helps to talk." Her instinct was to snap at him again, to remind him of his place, but something in his tone stopped her. It wasn't pity. It was empathy. Real, genuine empathy, something she hadn't felt in years. "I'm about to lose everything I built," she muttered, more to herself than to him. Ethan didn't respond right away. Instead, he pulled the car over by a small cafe and turned around. "Get out." She blinked, stunned. "Excuse me?" "You need coffee," he said simply. "And you need to breathe before you make another call that'll burn bridges." For a moment, Amelia stared at him like he'd lost his mind. No one told her what to do, especially not an employee. But maybe it was the exhaustion, or maybe it was the quiet steadiness in his voice. She got out. Inside the cafe, the scent of roasted beans filled the air. It was quiet, unpretentious, nothing like the boardrooms and five-star lounges she was used to. Ethan ordered for both of them, and they sat by the window in silence. For the first time in years, Amelia felt human. "Why do you care?" she asked finally. "I'm your boss, not your friend." Ethan smiled faintly. "Maybe because I know what it's like to lose everything you worked for." That made her look up. "What do you mean?" "I used to run a company," he said. "Cybersecurity. Small, but solid. I made a mistake, trusted the wrong partner. Lost everything. My investors, my reputation, my home. I became a driver to pay off debts." He sipped his coffee. "So yeah. I know how it feels when something you built starts slipping away." For once, Amelia was speechless. The man she'd dismissed for years had once stood where she stood now. And somehow, that realization softened her. Back at the office, as she stared at the endless stream of bad news on her computer, Ethan's words echoed in her mind. Trusted the wrong partner. That was it. Something about the data leak didn't add up. Only a few people had access to the prototype's internal systems, and one of them was her CFO, Victor Lang, who'd been unusually nervous that week. Fueled by a mix of suspicion and desperation, Amelia dug deeper.
She cross-checked emails, server logs, and financial transactions, and what she found made her heart race.
Victor had been secretly in talks with Hawthorne's rival company, Novodyne Robotics, selling insider information for a payout.
The leak wasn't an accident. It was sabotage. She needed proof, and fast.
But the files were encrypted.
She couldn't break them without triggering security alerts.
Then she remembered Ethan's words about cybersecurity. "Ethan," she said, standing in her office doorway that night, "how good are you with encryption?"
He raised an eyebrow. "Good enough to regret it. Help me catch a traitor."
For the next 6 hours, the two of them worked side by side in her office, surrounded by empty coffee cups and flickering screens. Amelia watched in awe as Ethan navigated complex code like a surgeon. Beneath his calm demeanor was a mind sharper than anyone on her executive team. When he finally cracked the encrypted files, what they uncovered was damning contracts, payment records, and communication logs linking Victor directly to the leak. By morning, Amelia had everything she needed. She confronted Victor in front of the entire board, presenting evidence with icy composure. The man who'd tried to ruin her was let out in silence, his career in ashes. Later that day, Hawthorne reinstated the deal. The merger was saved.
Vance Technologies stock rebounded almost overnight.
Reporters hailed Amelia Vance as the unshakable visionary. But only she knew who truly saved her empire. That evening, she called Ethan into her office. For the first time, she smiled genuinely. "I owe you more than I can repay," she said. He shook his head.
"You don't owe me anything. You just needed someone to remind you that you're not alone."
She hesitated, then extended her hand.
"Still, thank you, Ethan.
And if you ever want your own company again, I'll be your first investor." He chuckled softly. "Careful, Ms. Vance.
You might be turning human."
For the first time in years, Amelia laughed, a real, unguarded laugh. Weeks later, as the Mercedes pulled away from the curb, she caught Ethan's reflection in the mirror. This time, she smiled.
"Ethan," she said, "tell me something about your new cybersecurity proposal. I want to hear it."
And as he began to speak, his voice steady, confident, the world outside blurred into motion. Two people, once divided by status, now driven by respect and redemption, moving forward together, because sometimes, the person you overlook on the way up, is the one who saves you when everything starts to fall.